Hey guys, Ali here from Champagne and Coffee Stains, and today I want to share with you kind of my thoughts on the marathon training program that Peloton has. I got some questions about my thoughts on it, if I was using it myself for training, so I thought I would put together a video going over what is the marathon program, how I would use it. I'm not currently training, but I'll share with you kind of how I'm using it in my own personal marathon training, how to get to it, and all the things that you need to know about it. So let's jump in. So the program is an 18-week program, and it's mostly for beginners to intermediate. So kind of if you've never done the marathon, or if you're just getting into endurance running, this is a really great program to do. The program is 6 days a week. So there's 1 day rest day, which is the first day of the week. And then it varies throughout the week if you'll be doing a run or a strength training. So generally every single week is set up where you have two strength training classes, and then the rest are runs. And the running kind of varies between, they have some tempo runs, they have some interval runs, just steady runs, and then marathon pace too, in addition to your long run. So for the most part, day 2 is going to be some type of workout, either a tempo or interval run. Day 3 is going to be like a strength training. Day 4, these are called your marathon race prep days. And from the ones that I've listened to, at least, it's mostly running certain intervals at marathon race time, as well as hearing different tips from the instructors. These classes are exclusive to the program. So you can only access these type of classes within the program. And then the next day is going to be another strength training. Then you have a fun run, which is only 20 minutes. And then on day 7, that's going to be a 10-minute warm-up session, and then whatever the long run is. With the program, so the 10-minute session, pre-run warm-up, that does have an exclusive track that goes beforehand, and I am not listening to them, but in the notes of them, it does say how far you're going to be running, so I'm sure that they probably mention the plan and things like that, and probably some tips to prep you for it. And then when it goes on to your long run, you're actually on your own for that. So there isn't an audio track for any of the long runs. The program begins with week 1. Your long run is going to be 4 miles, and then gradually it builds to, I think it's week 15 or 16, where you're going to be hitting that 20-miler. So again, those long runs, there's no audio to it. The only audio is going to be in 30, 45, and 60-minute increments during your workouts during the week. So that being said, I am not personally doing the Peloton Marathon program because it's more time-based. So for me, I need to be focusing on how much mileage I got each week and what my base mileage is. And ultimately, the longest run that they have you doing is only 60 minutes. And for me, I'm practicing running slow on my easy days. So my easy pace is a good 2 to 3 minutes above what my marathon pace is. So I'm usually running between a 10 and an 11-minute mile, which would mean that my runs would ultimately only get me to maybe 5 or 6 miles on those 60-minute workouts, which is the longest one during the week besides your long run. I need a lot more base mileage than that. I've done 4 marathons in the past, so I kind of know what works with my body. And I also have some different goals too. So I'm looking to do a time-based goal. So with a time-based goal, you generally need to build a base of mileage. Usually I'm targeting about 30 to 40 miles a week. And if I were to only do the Peloton program, that would not get me nearly close enough to what the weekly mileage I need to hit my time goals during my upcoming marathon. So that's kind of why I think the marathon program is a great idea. And I understand that Peloton can't tell you every single day how many miles to go because it's an audio track. So they don't know how long it's going to take one person to do a certain amount of miles versus another. And they can't be, there's no way that they can make like 90-minute tracks and things like that. So that being said, that's kind of my biggest hesitation with the program, just because I feel like if I only were to do that program, my base mileage wouldn't be there. And I'm nervous that I've done training sessions in the past where I kind of followed a similar one where it was more time-based versus mileage-based. And the marathon, I didn't hit the goals that I wanted to. So that being said, there are ways to modify the Peloton program to make sure that you are getting the correct amount of weekly mileage. So what I would do, and actually this is what I'm doing, is I have a coach, but you can also do a free online program too. There's a ton of free online marathon training programs, things like that. And you can go ahead and see what the recommended mileage is per day based on those plans. So for example, if Peloton tells me that I should be running a half hour on this day, but my plan calls for 5 miles, I'll just listen to that track, because the marathon prep tracks that are exclusive to that program do have a lot of great tips. I don't necessarily follow along with when they call out the intervals. I run 5 minutes at marathon pace and they time it, and then recovery, etc. I more listen to it to hear the tips, the stories, and the instructor point of view. I follow what my coach tells me, but just have that on for audio. So again, if they're going to be calling for a 30-minute audio, I'll listen to that during part of my run, and then I'll finish up the mileage that I'm supposed to be hitting at whatever the goal is. So usually an easy pace for me. So I find that that's a really good balance, because I do think that there's a lot of value in listening to those exclusive marathon tracks that are inside of the program. I listened to one yesterday by Bex, and it was really helpful to hear firsthand from her, kind of her Boston experience, her race tips, kind of what she thinks about even while she's running. And it was really, really cool to kind of have that inside view into the instructors and kind of how they tackle the marathon. So I do wish that the content was available to everybody, and that you didn't need to go through the program. But I do also understand why it is set up that way, because if in the tracks, they actually refer back to, oh, you're entering into week 11. Yesterday you had this strength training, tomorrow you have this one. So if I were to pick that randomly in the app, I would probably be a little confused, like I didn't do that yesterday, or I'm not in week whatever my training program. So that's the only thing that you do have to be mindful of, but it's pretty easy to kind of get over that. The nice thing is, and I'll drop a link to this in the notes below, is that you can actually get access to those exclusive content tracks by clicking on the links that I have in my blog post. And then you can just bookmark it, and then you'll have access to it, so you don't have to go through that whole program in order to get to it, because Peloton has it set up where you need to sign up for the program and then complete the workouts in order to get access to the next exclusive content. But if you have kind of workaround ways of getting into clicking the link, bookmarking it, and then it'll play onto your phone. So overall, I do think it's a really great idea that they have. I obviously understand the limitations, because they can only record so much audio, and they don't know how much time one person is going to take to complete the run versus another. So it's a good guidance. I think it would be good for somebody who's brand new to endurance running, or who's just looking to get into running, to check out, because it does gradually build up. So it's a solid plan. It's just, if you're looking to have any sort of time goals, or if you have run a marathon in the past, you might find that you need a little bit more. And to supplement that, I would just recommend downloading a free plan, or getting a plan with a coach or something, getting the mileage that you should be hitting every single day, and then kind of just listening to these audio tracks just for the extra tips, support, things like that. So I hope that was helpful. Again, I will leave in the notes below everything that you need to know about the marathon program, including every single link to every single class in there. Outside of those marathon prep classes, there really isn't a whole lot of other exclusive content. And they've been working on refreshing it. And I just updated this in the blog post as well. So when they refresh the update it was only part 1 that got updated. Basically all that they did was they tweaked a few of the 20-minute runs to include some newer instructors, and remove some old runs. And then I believe they updated 1 or 2 of the strength for running. But other than that, the core classes, the marathon prep ones, have not changed. And then there's also a really cool one. I haven't listened to it yet, but in the last week 18, there's actually a shakeout run audio track by Robin. And then there's I think it's a 10-minute marathon prep by Robin as well. I'm pretty sure it's both by Robin. That will actually get you into the zone for your marathon and everything. So those are 2 really good tracks that you'll probably want to bookmark, in addition to any of the marathon prep ones, because I find it really interesting to hear what the instructors are thinking, and I think some of their tips are really helpful too. So I hope that this helped. If you have any questions, just leave the questions in the bottom of the comments, and I'll respond back.